Oh, it's another day here at the Comeback Team Studios. This is your host, Beck Lover, and you're watching another episode of the Interesting Times podcast right here on the Beck Lover podcast, where I gather all the news, all the stories, all the rumors from around the world, and I keep you in the know. I cut out all the fat, and I tell you what I think is important for you to understand about the world that we live in and what might be coming for all of us. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. You can check out this podcast on YouTube, Rumble, and Spotify if you want to watch and see my beautiful face. Or if you want to just listen to my sexy voice, you can listen to this podcast on any podcast platform. I want to thank all of you as we continue to smash numbers. There's a lot going on. There's been a lot of shakeup. I want to apologize for missing out yesterday on my daily show. I am in a growth phase, my friends, and I've been hiring teams, and we're getting ready to expand, not only with our content, but all kinds of amazing things. So I really hope you'll give me some grace, because I got to start getting something out of this, folks, because it's hard to sustain at the levels that I am and not extract some type of living from all these 5 years of hard work. I want to first start with a podcast I really hope all of you will check out. I appeared yesterday on the Health Rangers podcast. He's one of the, very prominent Christian preachers. You might have seen him hosting InfoWars a lot. And, for the record, I'm not a far right, extremist. I am someone in the middle who leans towards the right. I believe in freedom and democracy. I am a man of God. I believe there's a creator, and we need to respect that creator. I cannot control what these politicians do. But in any event, I just want to show you kind of a little bit from that podcast I did with Mike Adams of the Health Ranger. You can watch the episode on Rumble, and you can watch it on his platform, Brighteon. It was a very important conversation I had about the world that we live in, the what I believe is the manipulation of billions of Muslims and Christians to have animosity towards them, which only helps fuel an agenda of war and hatred. And it's been going on since even before 9/11. And people like Mike Adams are trying to build bridges between these communities, and I really appreciate it. So let's take out just a little couple highlights here of my conversation with Mike. It's supposed to be 10 minutes, but it was really, I was cooking, man. I was cooking like Rachel Ray, my good friend, the celebrity chef. And what an amazing conversation. I really hope you, my audience, will clip some of these highlights and help us build this bridge between these two large faiths, which I believe are being manipulated.
Matson, I think this could be the first of many conversations that we have. But let me just throw this out, okay, right up front. You're a Muslim. I'm a Christian Bible educator, and you and I honor each other, and we understand that Muslims and Christians do live side by side in places like Gaza and in Lebanon and many places around the world. And yet
Albania,
and yet it seems like we're living in a time when very dark, even I would argue satanic forces are trying to get Christians and Muslims to hate each other and go to war with each other. So that's my intro, like your commentary. What do you think we need to know about that as a starting point?
First and foremost, that's absolutely
so very
only
fascinating
in self-defense. And even in self-defense, you have no right to.
You born in that makes you, subhuman according to these narratives. Look, Beck, I think all those narratives are satanic. I think the one true narrative is that we're all human, we're all children of God, and that we're all born to actually have dignity and compassion for each other. And I think that is the message that can save this world.
Listen, I would rather leave my children with any person I know that is a Christian than with anyone else. I'd rather leave my children with a Christian to watch them and guide them than with someone who says they're a Muslim but really doesn't believe or follow the religion itself. I'm looking for people that have some type of faith in God.
Yes.
Regardless of how, because I truly believe that all of them have the divine presence in them. a lot of people maybe may have corrupted these messages or gone astray, but every single faith did have divine presence in it, that God, through these messengers, through, Moses and John the Baptist and all these amazing human beings that were sent down to teach us in these difficult times. So many times we complain about the world we live in and the lives that we have, but I always go back. I mean, my favorite prophet, one of my favorite prophets is Joseph. I mean,
it was an extraordinary conversation. There's tons of viral moments in there. I'm pretty sure in the next coming weeks, a lot of this is going to be clipped up and distributed by a lot of you that follow me. So I just want to thank you. Please go out there and check out this episode. I'll put a link in the profile. I don't know if he's banned from certain platforms. I don't really see a YouTube channel for him. I don't agree with all of his views, but there's a lot that I do agree with, and that's the key to building bridges. We're not going to agree on everything, folks, but we can coexist. We can have respect for one another, and that respect comes from having conversations like I did with Mike Adams. Now, let's jump into the headlines. Big announcement coming in from the Trump-Vance team. I am pleased to announce that great Elon Musk, working in conjunction with American patriot Vivek Ramaswamy, the Indian dude that ran against Trump originally, will lead the Department of Government Efficiency, also known as DOGE. Now, is that a reference to their cryptocurrency? Does that basically subliminally message to us that we should be purchasing Dogecoin? Because maybe that's what's going to be happening very soon? I don't know. You know where I stand on the whole crypto thing. I never said you can't make money with these currencies. I just think that money will come at the cost of your freedom, your true freedom, worse than anything you've ever imagined from any dictatorship in the world. A cryptocurrency, one world order, where every move of your life is on the universal ledger. And I, my friends, will not get behind that type of system. In any event, together, these two wonderful Americans, this is Trump's, memo about Elon Musk and Vivek being hired. These two wonderful Americans will pave the way for my administration to dismantle government bureaucracy, slash excess regulations, cut wasteful expenditures, and restructure federal agencies essential to the Save America movement. This will send shockwaves through the system and anyone involved in government waste, which is a lot of people. It will become potentially the Manhattan Project of our time. I mean, this is some crazy references if you think about it, subliminally. The Manhattan Project was an atomic weapon, right? Republican politicians have dreamed about the objectives of DOGE for a very long time. To drive this kind of drastic change, the Department of Government Efficiency will provide advice and guidance from outside of government and will partner with the White House and Office of Management and Budget to drive large-scale structural reform. Basically, it sounds like an IRS to audit the government because they have those agencies to make our lives a living hell. It would be nice for once for the American people to be able to audit and trim all the fat of so many of you unnecessary and useless, corrupt and greedy bureaucrats and elected officials who really do shit for the American people. In any event, there's a lot of chatter on X, formerly known as Twitter, which is why it's so freaking annoying that he changed the name. And if we scroll down, Elon's page here on X, let's see if there's anything else here. Vivek Ramaswamy, wrote 4 hours ago, over the last 2 years, the Supreme Court has ruled that the administrative state is behaving in a wildly unlawful ways, but slapping the bureaucracy on the wrist won't solve the problem. The only right answer is massive downsizing. I mean, these guys are looking like they're coming in with sledgehammers. Like when you buy a house to renovate it, you're coming in with the sledgehammers. You're hitting the sheetrock. You're knocking out walls. You know what I'm saying? You're going into the bathroom. You're taking out the tile. That's the type of rhetoric that's coming out of their mouths, and I like it. I really think the government needs to be completely downsized, massively, maybe to about half of its size at least. Another post by Elon. This is unacceptable. Do the people of Italy live in a democracy, or does an unelected autocracy make the decisions? Giorgia Meloni's government in Italy will not be allowed to deport illegal aliens according to judges who just ruled against her decision. They cited how Egypt has a poor human rights record, and therefore sending illegals from Egypt back to their home country would potentially violate their human rights, so it cannot be done. Italy's borders will remain open, and the new Europeans will be allowed to flood both Italy and Europe forevermore. So keep in mind, this open border crisis is in a lot of these Western nations. Their elected officials voted to start many of these conflicts in the Middle East, like the loudmouth in Poland, Dominic Tarczynski. He's got a big-ass mouth for someone that his country supported the wars that destabilized the entire Middle East and created these migrants. And then their government officials now want those migrants to flood their countries. And it's probably because they have negative birth rates. They just don't want to acknowledge the fact that Europe can't sustain its population because none of the men in Europe want to get married anymore. They're too busy in the brothels and the whorehouses, taking advantage of trafficked women, in my opinion. And God is punishing those nations, which is why they are in a negative birth rate. And their governments don't want to admit to their people that this immoral lifestyle that they have promoted, this very liberal lifestyle of women being trafficked for physical acts, being used in the brothels of Germany and Amsterdam and all across Europe, has led to the destruction of their family unit, skyrocketed the divorce rate, and has demoralized and degenerated Western Europe. That's my opinion, by the way. In any event, The Guardian, which is a paper you've seen me quote from a lot of their news stories on Interesting Times podcast, has announced that they will no longer post on X because of far-right conspiracy theories and racism. Simultaneously, they ask for donations and claim they are funded by readers, with no mention of the $10 million they received from Bill Gates. Someone posted this. This is Texas Lindsay. But The Guardian has posted, I guess, let's go to their page, why The Guardian is no longer posting on X. So they're finished. They're out. I say sayonara. Have a great day. Don't let the door hit you on the ass. Now, before I get into all the Trump news, there was a story the last couple of days ago with Amsterdam, what happened at the soccer/football, depending what part of the world you're listening from. Football is soccer in America. Violence broke out following the recent Europa League match between Ajax Amsterdam and Maccabi Tel Aviv. A video showing the riots was misrepresented by many media outlets. Deutsche Welle takes a closer look. In the days after the riots following the soccer match between Ajax Amsterdam and Maccabi Tel Aviv, international media coverage of the event has been heavily criticized. A video published by a Dutch photographer on the X platform was rebroadcast by many media outlets and misrepresented in the process. On the night from Thursday to Friday in Amsterdam, Israeli fans clashed with locals and pro-Palestinian supporters during the Europa League match between Dutch First Division team Ajax Amsterdam and Maccabi Tel Aviv. According to the police, riots broke out in several places in the city center. 62 people were arrested and 5 people were taken to a hospital, right? So it was all-out clashes in the street, all-out brawls, and a lot of people were blaming the pro-Palestinian side for instigating it, where based on these articles coming out of Deutsche Welle, it appears to be the other way. It was actually the Israeli fans that may have antagonized and started the chaos that erupted in Amsterdam. To illustrate this video by Dutch photographer Annette de Graaf was used several times to show the acts of violence committed by Israeli fans. However, it was misrepresented by many major media outlets in their reporting. Many users shared and disseminated the viral post with the same false claims as seen here. So let's look this up. Let's see what this is. Muslim mobs in Amsterdam are hunting Jews tonight. I wish this was not fiction, okay? So they tried to paint this story that the Muslims were out there to abuse these Israeli fans, when indeed it appears to not be the case at all. So, German media outlets such as the German broadcaster and international media like the Wall Street Journal showed either parts of the videos or screenshots. Claim Israeli soccer fans were chased and beaten in Amsterdam in what Israeli and Dutch politicians called anti-Semitic attacks, wrote the Wall Street Journal. The German newspaper Bild also used a screenshot from the video with the caption, "The hunt for Jews has broken out again. Arab mob chases soccer fans in Amsterdam." Deutsche Welle fact check false. The video by de Graaf actually shows supporters of the Israeli soccer club Maccabi Tel Aviv attacking locals around Amsterdam Central Station. Therefore, it does not show pro-Palestinians chasing Israelis, as has been falsely claimed by several media outlets, but instead Israeli soccer fans attacking locals and pro-Palestinian fans. Another video by a young Dutch reporter supports de Graaf's version because it shows the same violent scenes from a different angle. Many users have repeatedly pointed out the misuse of the images on social networks. They explained that the perpetrators were Israeli and not pro-Palestinian soccer fans. In a viral post, de Graaf asked the media to classify her material correctly and issue an apology, okay? And this is disgusting because the same stuff was done on October 7th, false claims, which allowed the dehumanization of everyone in that region. And now here we are, over a year later, with many civilians that have lost their lives tragically, and many false claims of the violence that happened there. And also, here it is again. And just so you know, if you're someone that shares false information that leads to the hurt or hatred or violence committed against other people, I just want you to know you're responsible. To God, you are morally responsible. So if I post a false story that incites hatred and people get hurt because of it, I will have to answer, and I should have to answer legally too. Because you are dispersing information that is incorrect, raises blood pressure, creates animosity between two groups of people, and it seems like the Muslims and the Arabs always get the short end of the stick when it comes to the media reporting the accuracy of events when it involves Israelis. This is wrong. I'd love to hear your comments. So there we are. Now, we had some leaks last year, if you remember. FBI arrest alleged leaker of the U.S. intelligence documents related to Israel's attack plans against Iran. This was a couple weeks ago, right? So I guess they found the person that leaked those documents. The Justice Department has charged a man for allegedly leaking highly classified U.S. intelligence about Israel's plans for retaliation against Iran, according to court documents. Asif W. Rahman was indicted last Thursday for willfully retaining and transmitting national defense information. According to court documents, he was arrested Tuesday in Cambodia and will first appear in court in Guam. Though the department has asked a federal judge to move him to Virginia to stand trial, Rahman was employed by the CIA. God help him right now. I wonder what they're doing to his ass, you know? So it sounds like somebody on the inside was trying to maybe prevent World War III is what it sounds like, and he sacrificed himself, in my humble opinion. But hey, what do I know? Rahman held a top-secret security clearance and could access sensitive compartmental. Let me take a little break. It's early. Compartmental. Bloopers. You want a blooper? You got one. Here we go. Rahman held a top security clearance and could access sensitive, compartmentalized information. I sound like an idiot. The New York Times first reported Rahman's indictment. The documents were posted by Telegram account in mid-October called Middle East Spectator. They are marked top secret and have markings indicating they are meant to be seen only by the U.S. and Five Eyes allies, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and the U.K. Sounds like a bunch of colonizers out there. CNN previously reported that one of the documents, which says it was compiled by the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, discussed a plan involving Israeli moving munitions. The other, which it says it's sourced to the National Security Agency, outlines Israeli Air Force exercises involving air-to-surface missiles. Yeah, that's a very high-level leak. Speaking of leaks, like heroes like... the hell is his name, man? My brain's fried right now. Julian Assange, WikiLeaks. We would have never known about stuff like this. The U.S. defense contractor to pay former Iraqi detainees $42 million for its role in torture at notorious Abu Ghraib prison. A federal jury on Tuesday awarded a total of $42 million to 3 Iraqi men who endured torture at Baghdad's Abu Ghraib prison over 2 decades ago, holding a U.S. government contractor accountable for contributing to the abuse. The ruling stems from a lawsuit filed on behalf of former detainees in 2008 against Virginia-based defense company CACI Premier Technology, according to a press release from the Center for Constitutional Rights. The plaintiffs allege the company was hired by the U.S. government following the U.S. invasion of Iraq to provide interrogation services at Abu Ghraib, a U.S. Army detention facility where Iraqi detainees were brutally tortured. And then they wonder why people hate them, and why the Arabs hate them, and why Muslims hate them, and why... I mean, it's just disgusting what was done in our name as Americans to innocent people being tortured, violating Geneva Conventions, violating human rights. Okay? So here's the proof, and this is why the work of people like Julian Assange should be applauded, because it's because of him these people even got something back, which I don't think there's any amount of money you could ever give someone back for the amount of emotional, physical, and mental trauma you get from being waterboarded and tortured in captivity. And we all remember those graphic images of these Iraqi prisoners, and it was done on your name, for you, America. They did these things to people in our name. It is morally wrong. It is disgusting. And is not the America I want to be proud of. And I am ashamed of it. Now, there's been a lot of chatter on the back channels and X and all this stuff about Trump and basically how he's a sellout. A lot of people who are using what's going on in the Middle East as a reference point to, is Trump really putting America first or the interest of other nations before America? And a lot of people feel with his alleged cabinet picks that these people are bought and paid for, are manipulated, are controlled by lobbies, and that basically, in a nutshell, we are fucked. Now, I have told you, I have no faith in this man. I definitely would never vote for the left based on their agendas, the wokeness, the this, the that, what they want to do to kids. They lost my vote forever. The right are warmongers that started all the wars in the Middle East. The only reason I like Trump was technically, during his 4 years, he didn't start any more new wars, which I do not think will be the case in his next term. I think there will be a lot of war that is allowed to happen on his watch. And I think because of the people he's putting in power, it's a safe bet that we really had no vote, as I've said, time in and time out. Fetterman hails Rubio as strong choice for Secretary of State, says he will vote to confirm him. Senator John Fetterman has called Senator Mark Rubio of Florida, who President-elect Donald Trump is expected to tap to serve as Secretary of State, as a strong choice for the cabinet-level role. Unsurprisingly, the other team's picks will have political differences than my own. If Rubio does take on the job next year, he will be able to appoint a temporary replacement to fill the vacant U.S. Senate seat until a special election is held for the seat. Senator Rubio has proven record of promoting freedom, defending American interests. Yeah. He also bows to a certain country, says they can do whatever they want in the Middle East. We should keep supporting them no matter what. I mean, how's that putting America first, in my opinion? And it doesn't matter which country. No country should have that influence or type of control over America. Here's another one that stunned everybody. Trump's defense choice stuns the Pentagon and raises questions about the Fox News host experience. President-elect Donald Trump stunned the Pentagon and the broader defense world by nominating Fox News host Pete Hegseth to serve as his national defense secretary, tapping someone largely inexperienced and untested on the global stage to take over the world's largest and most powerful military. The news was met with bewilderment and worry among many in Washington as Trump passed on a number of established national security heavy hitters and chose an Army National Guard officer well known in conservative circles as a co-host of the Fox News channel. Now, I don't know what to make of this. I mean, who knows? I don't know anything about this guy. I mean, maybe it's a good thing, someone that's not as active and a part of the establishment and's been around fighting war after war after war. I mean, this guy only served to protect America's borders, which is what I believe the military should be for. Just protecting America, not invading, not occupying, not oppressing, not involved in proxy wars across the globe in our name, not creating animosity around the world, not supporting what has been happening in the Middle East, which is absolutely horrific at this point. There's no way I can stand behind the amount of violence and loss of innocent life. I don't give a fuck who's fighting. I don't care if it's Hindus, Muslims, Israelis, Palestinians. Civilian life. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Cannot stand behind it. I'm sorry. Cannot endorse it. Cannot feel any type of sympathy anymore at this point. What to know about Kristi Noem, Trump's pick for Homeland Security Secretary. Donald Trump has selected South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem to head the Department of Homeland Security. Now, she did a lot of things during 2019. She did it right, folks. I'm going to be honest with you. I liked what she did. She didn't allow the overreach of government. She protected her home state. She did much better than New York and New Jersey did when they just shut us all down. So I kind of like her. Hopefully, she does the right thing. Hopefully she doesn't spy on Americans and overuse that power. Maybe repeal the Patriot Act. Things like that. Then we can really love her. But too early to know. Special counsel Jack Smith and his team to resign before Trump takes office. Jack Smith and his team plan to resign before President-elect Donald Trump take office. Smith's office has been evaluating the best path for winding down its work on the 2 outstanding federal crimes cases against Trump. So he's out. Former Air National Guardsman sentenced to 15 years in prison for unlawfully disclosing classified national defense information. A former U.S. National Guardsman, Jack Douglas Teixeira, Northington, Massachusetts, was sentenced today in federal court in Boston for retaining and transmitting hundreds of pages of classified national defense information, including many documents designated top secret in an online social media platform in 2022-2023. Teixeira pleaded guilty to 6 counts of willful retention and transmission of classified information relating to national defense. He shared classified national defense information on social media platform in an attempt to impress anonymous friends on the internet. Instead, it has landed him a 15-year sentence in prison. That sucks. As I covered a couple days ago, the Archbishop was being called to resign in England. The Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, resigns in abuse fallout. Welby is accused of not taking sufficient action to stop one of the Church of England's most prolific serial abusers. The Archbishop of Canterbury has resigned after an investigation found that he failed to pursue an investigation into allegations of serial physical abuse by volunteers associated with the Church of England at Christian summer camps. They were taking care of those little boys, if you know what I mean. They were taking them for hikes. They were taking them to do things that no child should be doing with an adult. You know what I mean? It got real physical. They weren't just playing basketball and starting fires and swimming in the lakes. They were being touched in their no-no places. So it's not just the Catholic Church that has these scandals, just so you know. Justin Welby, 68, resigned on Tuesday, 5 days after the independent Makin report singled him out for criticism for over his handling of the abuse allegations dating back to the 70s. Okay? So, Russian lawmakers pass a bill banning child-free propaganda. Russian lawmakers on Tuesday passed a controversial bill which will outlaw child-free propaganda. Without children, there will be no country, State Duma Speaker Vyacheslav Volodin, a member of the ruling United Russia Party, told deputies ahead of the vote. As Russia faces an aging population, low birth rates, and rising mortality due to the war in Ukraine, authorities are pushing for more measures to combat a demographic decline that threatens economic growth. You know, you guys want to have fun and go on TikTok and dance to the music, and be into the clubs and fuck around and just fuck a million people and have no kids, and fucking when you get old, it's gonna be no one to take care of you because you want to fuck around, you want to have a good time, you want to dance, you want to drink, you want to do everything that is against God, and then your population declines and fucking half of them are getting killed in fucking Ukraine, and in a few years you guys aren't gonna have any kids because you're too busy fucking around. This is Beck Lover, and everybody just wants to fuck around in this godless world. And they pay the price sooner or later because the King of all kings knows what comes next. They plan, and so does God. God has his plan, and his plans are the best. And we shall feel his wrath one day in this world. A Canadian teen is in critical condition with what is believed to be the bird flu, so that's spreading up there. And that's about it, man. Things are getting out of control. So it's wild out there, my friends. It's wild. We live in interesting times. Who knows what's going to happen? We still have to get past January 6th, where they have to certify Trump, Who knows if there's going to be some fireworks this time around. You know I got the gear because you watched me on the Godfrey podcast. Make sure you subscribe to all my platforms. I have content on every one of them that's different. Whoops. I have content on all of those platforms. Make sure you hit that sub button. This is your boy. I'll keep you posted. I'll keep you in the know because we live in an interesting world. An interesting world indeed. This is Beck Lover, and I'll see you on the next episode. Until then, pray, friends. We're going to need prayers. Arrivederci.